Oh, praises. Campbell. Bayete Nkosi. Yenge Keno. Away Nusiemi. Campbell Tekeno. Kukwisi Ambote. Welcome to another video. My name is Trey Okitiwi Solele or Mesalaka. I'm coming with you with another video. I know I'm going to get to all of your comments. I thank you. I appreciate those that have emailed. We have those who we had an interaction. It's great that you're learning some things. I hope that Tatanzami will continue to increase your understanding. I know there are many others that are teaching as well, that you will be able to eat the meat and spit out the bones. That's what we always really supposed to be doing anyway. I hope that you will wikichala to this message that I'm coming with you today. If this message brings down my YouTube channel, please be sure to hopefully you downloaded and recorded all the videos. Okay. I know they usually get saved on my, I don't know how all of them, some of them got deleted, but a lot of these things are still on my computer. So if that happens, I'll try to figure out a way to get onto another site or whatever we do. But apparently, um, the reason why I'm doing this video is because the Kalunga or the realms that be, they're starting to get angry with how there's a lot of half-truths going on because of people not telling them the truth about what side they're really on. Okay. Now, I know I'm not one of the people who hasn't sinned against the Most High. I know we're all dealing with our spiritual fights because the devil never stops. However, there's one thing that I know is that I have not willingly oathed in to anything that, as an adult, that had nothing to do with, the military, Freemasonry. I never signed up for a church membership. I didn't do, I've I've done memberships for like the Y and stuff like that. And, I've done, actually, that wasn't even, no, I didn't. That wasn't mine either. That was given to me. I did, I have a fitness club, and I'll talk about this. The issue that we're dealing with is oaths. This is why Kuswa Congo talks about false oaths. This video is to recognize the real, I'm going to show you how to tell a wheat from a tare today. And the problem is the wheat are continuously being inundated with tares. And again, I've done a teaching, and I'll do my intro here in a minute. But I want you to, again, Nzambi Monene, Zambi Ampungu, Kimbo Hallelujah, once again, I honor all of you that are doing Tata Nzambi's work, the Most High King Kongo's work. I honor you, no matter where you are. People can still be used to teach the Most High's way. That doesn't necessarily mean they're talking to him, but he can use anybody. Like we talk about, even he used a donkey, but of course people are gonna always say there's no way that happened when you're coming from the carnal mentality, because the scientific world is exactly that. It's all carnal. The sad part about it is the people who run science, they're all spiritual. This is the deception. Okay. But the spiritual that they are is not the good spiritual. That's the thing. When we talk about the reason, there's a lot of stuff going on the internet flowing out there, a lot of things being said, a lot of things being talked about. But the reality is, at the end of the day, you can only serve one master. You cannot serve two. Okay. This is why everything is about masters. People don't even know why they call it master's degrees in college. That's not, they made this up for a reason, okay? Or mastery, what that really means. It means that you have mastered your ability to know certain things and whatever you choose to pick. The collegiate system is one of the most biggest scams that's ever been brought upon people by those who want to control you. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. That's why, you know, the whole concept of the college debt and everything and trying to make it through college and all this other stuff. I'm going to talk about why about this. This is all about part of the revenge of the Canaanites. Okay, we're going to get into that. So all praises. When it comes to what's happening, I'm going to talk about the Kindoki or the Ganganzumbi spirit of the Most High, the priest. What determines a priest that's good and a priest that's bad? A Nabi that's good and a Nabi that's bad. A seer that's good and a seer that's bad. Okay, and this is going to tell you what happened to Solomon. So before I begin, I'm going to start with my intro. Again, I don't own the rights to it. It's not for me to redistribute in any way. It's not for me to profit from in any way. A big rise. You're going to see a shift in teachers coming real soon. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, get ready. There's going to be a transition that's coming. And these people that are coming, you're going to be able to touch them. They can't talk. They can't. They won't infiltrate any of this. Hallelujah. Kimber, hallelujah. They won't be able to do anything about it. Hallelujah. Kimber, Tatanzambi, Amazulu, Kimu Kapisa. Bayete Kosi. All praises. Kimber, hallelujah. We are rising, Bakongo. We're going to talk about why the unification of Africa, why there's a lot of people turning against the slave master. The slave revolt is starting against Ra. Okay. Kimbo, hallelujah. The sun god is going down for good. Hallelujah. Because the true light of the world is coming. And anyone serving the sun god, it's over for you real soon. Simba Wayuda. Kwatulendo, Katanzambi and Pungu Fumu Yabe. Nkulu Kulu, Modimo, Zambio, all the different Sunini Nanini, Somangla, Bayeti. Hallelujah. I'm going to get into a song. I want to do, I'm going to do this one, I think. And remember, I don't own the rights to any of this music. It's not for me to redistribute in any way. It's not. I don't. I'm not for me to make profit off of any kind. I don't own the copyrights. It's not for me to uh, benefit. So you can go to the people who have it, and you can get it from them. If you want to distribute, this is the business is off of their YouTube channel. And again, I'm not promoting in any way, but just for the channel. Okay. Hosanna, Prince of the Most High's way. Hosanna, what Prince? Hosanna, he's Prince. Yesu, yes, it's short for Yesue. Yeah, that's why we never said no Jesus, because it's a hyphenated name. So you can't put the S on the end when that was not the letter that was on the end. It was Yesue. Yosu. He saved us, or his way saves, which is really King Kongo's way, Tatanzambe, because he wasn't teaching his own way, he was teaching the Most High's way. He didn't invent it, he was already doing it. And there were others doing it like him, but they sinned, he did it. It don't have to be like you sin a lot. It can be just one time. And it's still a sin, a fall. Or you could have been dirty and then got made clean and then started working for the Most High. It happens. See, every time I watch this video, and I'm gonna tell you, I can tell when they put some people in there, it's like there's no way. The way we move in and the way they move in, there's no way it's the same. It's like they can't even do some of the stuff we doing. It's like, nah. That's how you know somebody's not telling the truth. Because Bantu people move a certain way that brings energy. And I learned this even in the Caribbean. It was like you could just see the energy is like jump up, jump up, jump up. Okay. And it was always energy involved. Rise. You know, even when you see in the churches, the Baptist, you know, the black churches, when they jump up and up, it's always like an energy. But the problem is, where is it going? Back to you or to somebody else? Because when you praise the right creator, the energy comes back to you and raises you up higher in your feelings. That's why you see people falling down on the floor. I'm like, no. The Most High energy rises. It don't go to the floor. Bring you up. It's going to elevate and lift you up. Didn't get that. I forgot to pray before I started this. Send all the money to Congo to protect over this trail to get you ready so you Baba. Help us in this time. You're done. Protect and watch over this ministry in this same. I expected a lot of the things that's happening. First of all, Yenge Keno to Tatanzambi and Pungu, Asalama Maleki Congo. Give honor to Kusakoma from Yisu, the Mandavelala, all the Unkuluntu of the Benabeti Solide down to Tata Adama and Mama Eva, Bayet and Kosi. One of the things, this is why I talk about Ephesians, we don't battle against flesh and blood, but against principalities. That was part of the reason why King Congo and Fumoyisu was telling people to be careful about throwing stones, because all have sinned and fall short of the glory of Tatanzambi, which is the whole, except for Kuswa Congo, the Fumoyisu. Even Mayamona, the one they call Simantoko, he was not perfect. Neither was Kimbangu. Okay. Neither was Padi, neither was Matsura, neither was Ganganzumbi, neither was Kempavita or any of these people. Manzinga, and Pembanzinga, none of those people were perfect. Okay. The biggest issue that many people don't realize in this awakening is because of what we have been going through, we are looking for an answer. I'm going to tell you why it's very hard for people to separate from the churchianity or church-like mentality, which at the same time is also the Kemetis mentality. Okay. I'm going to talk about club. I've done this teaching before about club, what that really means. The whole concept of membership. Okay. What people don't understand is esoteric. People running Friday Night High. Oh, that's a Freemason automatically. Oh, no. Okay. Esoteric, which means basically hidden. Okay. What people don't understand is the Creator has his chosen and the devil has his chosen, which means that the Most High selects certain people to teach and to bring knowledge forth from him, and the devil, he picks certain people to hide his secrets from the fact that so people don't know what he's doing. Okay. When you're talking about membership, and this is going to explain to you why they call it being a church member. First of all, it technically is kind of a mockery of what Isaiah actually was doing when he said that only go into those who are worthy, and if they're not worthy, you shake your sandals and you leave. Now, people say that all this scripture was made up, and a lot of the New Testament was completely written, and it's like, no, this is why you got to be careful of the people who you're talking to. It was all of the Most High scriptures. It's not that the people have been making things up. It's that they have been writing it their way. Big difference. Okay. And a lot of the scriptures, they are choosing what comes out and what doesn't to the people who read it. And then they tell you this is the word of God. This is the only thing that you need to know. The reason for that is not because they're wanting to help you become saved. The people who did this, I'm not talking about the people who are actually believing it, but the people who did it, it's because they want to make sure that you stay in their exclusive club of what they have created for this world. Okay. Membership. I'm going to talk about why you're a citizen, why you have, because it is all set up as a business. Everything is. When you go back to the beginning of the world and the creation of it, remember that Adam and Eva, they were so comfortable in the fact they didn't even wear clothes, of how they didn't know what they were supposed, they knew what they were supposed to know and what they were not. Why we say people are born in sin is because you have awareness of good and evil, of something that you shouldn't have, that we never should have been from the beginning. You should have only been aware of the good, not the evil. Okay, that's the whole concept. Okay. The becoming aware of good and evil is what brings the shame. Okay. When we talk about, you know, because the whole concept of evolution is actually fabricated to hide the fact who built the world. That's a lot of it. And to keep the world from understanding that this is a revenge plot from a certain group of people. Um, the Canaanites didn't like their curse because they hated the fact that they were enslaved to everybody. So they, of course, used that to their leverage and their advantage to infiltrate, to make sure that they would start working to the top and not stay at the bottom. That was part of it. Okay. The other part of it was the fallen wanted to make sure that no human being were above them, to where they had control of the spirits. When you remember, King Congo, Katanzambi, he controls all spirits. Okay. He can make them do whatever they want, no matter if they can't, they, even if they can force them, even if he has to. It's like they can't not do what he says. They don't like it, but they're going to do it. Okay. But of course, they're going to always try to be in defiance, because then that's when they want to get revenge, and the payback says, you made me do something that I didn't want to do, so I'm going to pay you back. That's kind of how, they talk about the hurtfulness, the scriptures we talked about. Okay. Now, in the Testament of Solomon, I'm going to get into that, where they break down a lot of things about how you get rid of demons or what the demons do. One of the questions you have to ask yourself, and this is the one thing that it doesn't really go into detail of when Solomon was talking, is who is sending you? Who is conjuring you up? Okay. One of the things that the Most High hated about what Bantu people did is, this is why your heart has to be in the right place. Conjuring or being a sorcerer is connected to your heart. Okay. That's why bitterness was always an issue, or circumcising your heart. Okay. That's why a pure heart is what makes you clean and what allows you to be a vessel for good. Now, the deception about this whole process is the devil also needs clean vessels to do his work, because they have to manifest the power of spirit. They just don't understand that they're being tainted in this process. Okay. His use of your vessel will taint you. The Most High's use of your vessel will keep you pure. Okay. That's why he hated it when we would go and talk to other gods and engage with them and say their names. Okay. So when they talk about the form of jealousy, there's a jealousy that has to deal with the fact that this is my property and no one's touching it. And then there's a jealousy of envy. Okay. When King Congo, the Most High, talks about he's a jealous God. Okay. What he means is when he decided, when he knew he was going to pick his chosen people, it's like, these are mine. Okay. And no one is to have them but me. So therefore, you are to do the things that I call you to do. Okay. And of course, we had a feminine spirit as well. That was the nurturing spirit, where it was like, this is where we would get our peace. Okay. Now, when Tatanzambi created the earth and it was all supposed to be in its proper order, everything was male and female. It really was. Okay. That's why the intent of the dragon is always to defile this concept of proper union of things, a proper symbiose or the proper connection. So therefore, when we talk about when they were setting up their altars, and we now know what happened when they hide the fact about what happened with Caina and how he was really a spiritual product of the devil, hence the reason why he hated his brother and what happened with his sister and all that. And of course, they don't want to talk about that whole concept because they're saying, oh, well, if we talk about brothers and sisters, then we're kind of promoting the concept of incest and this and this and that. But in all reality, it's like, no, there was a sense of reproduction had to start somewhere, but there had to be rules according to family members. And that's why when we started to multiply, those rules changed to the fact that we were no longer needing to do that because we had enough people to where you didn't have to be with your immediate family. The problem is when you're with the devil side, that stuff didn't stop. And this is where we're going to get to. Okay. When there's in the Most High side, okay, you're going to start following the guidelines that's been set up. So now, when we talk about the creation, this is why that whole concept is the reason why scientists want to talk about evolution, because they're like, we must have come from somewhere. We didn't start making other, it's like, no, families, animals and this and that. It's like, the issue is that they're saying that the earth itself created the nature for the reason for the change, when in fact it's like, oh, it just spontaneously happened and nothing was responsible for it otherwise. Or there's cataclysmic events that took place, but they're not wanting to give you the fact that there's why. They know things happen, but why? Why did that happen? Well, we don't know. That's the lack of knowledge. That's where you're lacking the knowledge as to why did they have to do that? Oh, for survival. Okay, so then what caused this? And for what reason? Oh, the earth just, it's like, this is the whole mindset of when you're dumbed down and you're with the wrong spirits. Okay, because the concept is that the people who hate the Most High are trying to erase the Most High. That's what they want to do. Okay, the people, but if they cannot erase him from people, then they want to change who he is. Okay, and this is all part of the concept of the oaths that were done, okay, from those who were his enemies. It's like when he talks about enemies, it's like the whole purpose of when you're fighting an enemy is you're trying to eradicate them and take over what's theirs and then make it yours, which is a lot of the things that happened throughout history with the wars that took place. So that's why you'll always get the stories coming from the people who won, and you're going to erase the knowledge of the people who lost. Okay. And then you're going to start telling tales about it. Some of it may be true and some of it may be false. Okay. So what happened is when you talk about the Banabeto, the Solele, the Bakongo, the Benanzambi, the Israelites, what is happening is those who defeated us are now telling our story. So it's like when we go into captivity and we got in trouble and then we came out, it's like the victors, those who were allowed to defeat us, will now try to tell the story their way on how they did it, and who we are, and all the ancestors involved. Okay. And of course, you're going to take your people and substitute them because you're going to say, well, we took over you. So we're going to act like we're the ones that now do this and not you. This was always why it was such a big mistake for Bantu people to mix with other nations. Okay. Now you hear people talking about, oh, white people did this, black people, everything was this black, white. The problem is, okay, is that again, when you win, you're going to rewrite the history according to what you want your people to believe. Okay. You're not, and you're going to rewrite the history of the loser so that you don't, so that you diminish them as a superiority and inferiority complex. Okay. So now, when it comes to the scriptures, and they call the Holy Scriptures, no man-made religion has ever created the Holy Scriptures. No, it does not happen. Okay. The Holy Scriptures come from the people who defeated the people that they hated. Okay. That's the problem. Okay. When Rome went to war with the Bantu people, and other people, it's like, no, we can't stand these people. We're going to erase them. Okay. You have been made into the concept that there was a symbiosis and equal agreement with stuff, and it's like, no, that's not how it went down. Okay. Everything was about eradicating and about abolishing knowledge so that you can now create your interpretation and your version of events, and then you use whatever you can to your advantage to make it become your reality, which is you weren't there. That's the whole concept. The whole purpose of the Holy Spirit is the Holy Spirit was always there from the beginning. So that's why the Holy Spirit becomes all knowledge. But see, there's other entities that were also there from the beginning, and they're going to always take that knowledge and turn it into their version, okay, of what they want people to know in different forms, in various different forms, okay? Now, if you choose to believe this, that's up to you. If not, okay, that's your choice. But the reality is we didn't get here at the current place that we are based upon what they're teaching you in the schools. No, I can guarantee you not. That's not how we got to this point in the world. We didn't get that way this way. There's a lot of things that have been erased about what took place up to several hundred years ago because you weren't there. And they make that a mission to keep that way, because you can't control people if they know who they are. That's the whole concept. Ungubani, know yourself, is what they don't want Banabetu to do. They don't want people to know who they are really and remember who they are, because then it changes the narrative of everything that's been done. Okay. So when we go into the Testament of Solomon, okay, we have the conversation. Let me share my screen. Hold on, let me open it up first. I don't know if I like this version. I might have to switch it. I don't like when you have to keep turning pages on books that they scan to the I would rather. All right, so let's see if I can pull it up. Now, the first thing it's going to tell you, and this is why I just love how they do this, because it's like a lot of things are folk tales. Even the white people's history is folk tales, not just the Bible, if you want to say that. Okay. So the person is going to start with saying, this is the Testament of Solomon is a folk tale. How do you know that? Who told you this? It's a folk tale. It's all based upon a person's opinion, not a fact. Okay. This is the problem with believing what people say. That's why you don't listen to what men say, you listen to what the Most High says, because people will always tell it the way they want to say it, because they're not trying to give away their advantage that they have over people about the knowledge you don't have. That's why I try to tell people that when they talk about the whole concept of telling people something fact and fiction is so they could distort the knowledge. Fact is something that we can prove and we know it's true based upon what? What did you do to verify this? Oh, we did this test, and how do you know it really works like that? See, carnal knowledge will always make you think according to the way you decide. It's a group of people who come together and they make an assessment, and then they say, well, this is what we're going to tell them. Okay? The experts. The experts didn't become experts just because they say so. They had to get it from somebody else who they themselves said they were the experts. Of who? Of what? Who made you an expert? Or, okay, I went to this person and they said this and that. How do you know the information they gave you is right? That's the issue. That's why Banabetu of Isolde were never supposed to go the way of the heathens, because that's their problem. They always go off of what they think or what they say or what they believe. Okay? Banabetu Isolde, our belief, okay, gave us the same power that these people are looking for. Our belief allowed us to do the things that they say now, I've never seen this happen in the Bible. Now they're going to call it sorcery, witchcraft. Okay. Banabetu's belief allowed us to do things that were unimaginable, and that's why they call it legend. Because technically, legend refers to the stuff that they saw the false Messiah doing with his manipulation powers. Okay. So that's where that comes from. It's because it's saying this has got to be, this got to be made up. We don't, because first of all, the problem is they say, well, this is coming from the Jewish people, so they had to have made this up. The problem is you're coming with the assumption that the people who gave you the information are in fact the actual people who wrote it. That's the problem. So you're making an assumption based upon what you've been told, not what's actually true. Okay. The Ashkenazi Jews, contradictory to what they tell people, okay, yes, they have things that they have written, but that doesn't mean they're the originators of it. Okay. The Muslims, they have things that they have written, but that doesn't mean that they're the original people of the stuff. The Christians, they have things that they have written, but that doesn't mean that they're the origin of it. Okay. This is how you can make people believe something, because you say, well, this person was publishing. I said, I'm going to tell you right now, every book that is scrutinized about talking about anything that's biblical comes from the people who are in secret societies. Okay, that's the biggest problem. But the secret society they are part of is not the one that we were a part of before all of that. Okay. The Bantwe people, the people who followed the Messiah, we were part of a secret organization where the knowledge was supposed to be distributed based upon your worthiness. That's why you'll see it on both sides. Are you worthy of becoming a Mason? Are you worthy of becoming a Christian? Okay, that's the same. Are you worthy of becoming of a Bantwe? That's why that knowledge was supposed to remain among the Wakanda, which is why he said, do not teach anything that's righteous and holy unto those who are not worthy. Okay? The Most High even said this. He said, don't go teaching people what I teach you if they're going to do what to you? Take you out with it. Okay? This is part of the reason why in Tino Solomon, he was like, he made the biggest mistake of turning his heart away to Baal, because now the secrets of the Most High became known to the people who weren't supposed to have it. Okay, it's like, no, we ain't supposed to be teaching these people that. What are you doing? They don't know. They don't need to know that. You're giving it now to the, it's like when you say you're giving the secrets over to the enemy now. Okay, and this is what caused our kingdom to be divided, because now it was tainted. Okay, the truth was tainted, and only those who were clean could bear the truth. Because in order to be a priest, there's always cleansing, even on both sides, even though one's going to do sorcery and the other one's going to do righteous. The cleansing is so that you can become spiritual, or you can receive spirit, so the spirit can enter the body. Okay? But what spirit is in there determines whether or not you have the good light, okay, or the bad light. Okay? When we talk about souls, the biggest and most deceptive way that the world has been learning about souls, people, is, first of all, you're going to get those that say there is no such thing. You just come together and your body parts make you, and then now you become alive. And then you regenerate, and then you go die, and then they recycle. Okay? That's where, and people don't even know the whole concept of depopulation theory started in church, really, by a pastor, to say that, oh, there's just way too many people and we got to start doing this and that. Okay? That's when they're looking at you as just like animals, like cattle. You're just occupying space, and you need to be, recycled. Okay? The problem is the people who are saying that are not, they're spiritual beings. Okay, that's the whole concept. Now, and this is something that it was shown to me, you know, people say, well, you might have been hallucinating. You can say whatever. It's like, okay, whatever. But the concept of why you don't mix spirits is the very reason why you can misuse your gifts. That's one of the reasons when they say, no, the gift that I give you, that when Tatan Zami was talking about how he gives us gifts, okay, and he says, it's not the gift that needs forgiveness, it's what you do with it. And that's why he even talked about why what you say is more destructive to your soul than what you eat. But that doesn't mean you just go and eat whatever you want. That's a misnomer, because the spirit guides you on what to eat and what not to eat, because the spirit knows the law better than you do. That was the whole concept of why, one of the reasons why the prophets were always being killed is because we never understood the temple. We were always concerned about the building and not the body of the person that was in the building. Okay? This is what was inherited by the converts when they came in. because that's how the rest of the nations operated. I'll take you back to, excuse me, sorry, many of the ancient civilizations. Why do you always see temples everywhere? Because they were always coming to give some kind of an offering based upon trying to receive something from whatever God it was that they were talking to. Because what the devil would do is he broke himself up into various different entities, because there are many fallen angels, okay, not just one. And they would break themselves up into various, even though there's one kingdom, they would break themselves up into different forms in order to receive worship, because they were dead gods and they needed blood. They needed blood. Tatanzami really didn't need blood. I'm going to talk about what the lamb stuff was really about, because it didn't just start in Gipiti. It started with Abele, actually, why he had the lambs. Everything that the Most High did was symbolic of the promise he told Adama, to say, I will now send you, you have fallen, okay? So now you need to do these things to bring cleansing to your soul. But it was symbolic of when the law would be fulfilled through the ultimate cleanse. Okay, the lamb started there and was symbolic, or any sacrifice, it was symbolic of who would become the ultimate sacrifice. Now, you're going to sit there and say, oh, but the scripture says no man can die for another man's sins. You have to unlearn translation. Because, see, how it was written in English is not the way it came out in the people who wrote it in the Bantu languages. This is the problem when we call lost in translation. You're going to believe it the way your colonizer taught it to you, or the language that you have learned, and not the language that it was written in. And the problem is, you're coming from what's called the Aramaic language, which was actually a Gentile language, not an original Hebrew. But they're not going to tell you that, okay? The scripture, how it was written was, you cannot, and this is the way it works, and this is how it was misinterpreted. You cannot go and commit a sin and then tell somebody else, oh, can you take my sin for me? Because I don't want to die. This is the whole concept of Bantu culture. It's like, hey, you made a mistake, I can't pay for you. You got to pay for your own sin. Okay? This is the whole concept of why you have to learn through the Mwanda how to read the scriptures the right way, because you're going to misinterpret the intention of what it really means all the time in the carnal mentality. That's why Christians don't understand the Bible the way they're supposed to. Because first of all, it wasn't written in English. That's the first problem. And it wasn't written in Latin, and it wasn't written, none of these things were written what you think. All the Abafundi, the disciples, they were not speaking, they were not writing down the Most High stuff in another nation's language. No. Or they were not talking about it that way. What happened was our Unkuluntu, who decided that they wanted to be bewitched, went along with the concept of translating it into other languages, when it was supposed to be learned according, the Holy Spirit will teach it in our language. That's why you'll even find that our language, they always knew, and this is how you know that they have hid this fact. The people who built many of the cities in this world were connected to the people who could speak the pure language, okay, and had the knowledge and power on how to discern what to do in order to construct things, because we were still being led by spirits, by the Spirit. Even though we were now, this is how they've tainted, they've changed some things. When we built many, when many civilizations got built, the Mwanda was involved in some things that people were gonna be like, I can't believe it got built like that. How did you do that? Okay. That's why they can't replicate it, because the Mwanda has to flow in order to get things built the right way through us. The problem is the Mwanda can't do evil. Okay. So it's not there, but you still have the knowledge of how to do it from what you were taught. So then now you're going to use another form of power that can do similar things. Okay, the Kindoki. So now that's why when you look at many of the things that were built, and they're saying, well, how did they do that? The problem is now they've conditioned you into building it just with your own two hands and your own ingenuity and everything else, when that's not how these things were built in the past. No, that's why they have to cover it up. They were all built through the knowledge of spirits that they went and gave sacrifices to, or the knowledge of our creator, who gave us exactly how to build things the way it should be, so it brings glorification and righteousness. So now when we go to the Testament of Solomon, the reason why they're going to call this folklore is because they know, and everybody knows, okay, that they cannot repeat this unless you have the knowledge of how it was built. Okay? Because see, when Tatanzambi had us building things, it had a purpose involved. Okay, there was a reason for it. You didn't just build just because you wanted to. It had a purpose for it being built. The problem is, why they want to call this folklore is because the Most High has command of all spirits. Okay, so because he has command of all spirits, it's like you can make things happen against the will of those that don't want to do things, but they won't like it. Okay. So in the case of Intino Solomon, it started off that he was given the task to build the Nzoan zombie. And the means which to do so was given to him when he started to realize that there were some bad spirits that were among the people. And so then at that point, he felt that it was necessary that he needed to get the control of this, because I know his heart was not like Intino Davidi's, but I don't know, this thing is, I don't know, this, I'm gonna go to a different translate. Hold on. I hate when you have to keep going through all this, because these are scholars and they go and they do all their research, and it's like you cannot research things without the Holy Spirit. So everything that they do is based upon what they think, and so it's always going to be either some truth or some lies in it, because they're involved in the esoteric world, and they're always going to do it how they think, not what the Most High says. So it's like, oh, well, this is how we see it, and this is how we do it. And it's like, no, that's not how the Most High did it. See, they always want to hide things now because they know what we're trying to do. So now they want to make it complicated to look for things. And it's like, are you serious? All right. So when we go to the Testament of Solomon, you're going to see where he says, now we talk about, there's a thing that talks about Congo, and that's where king comes from, okay? So Testament of Solomon, his name was not Solomon, that's the tower, that's the pyramid of Giza. Mwana Davidi, Benan Davidi, son of David, who was the Nkenge or Congo, Moni Congo of Solomon, Usalemi, as they say, but it's not Usalemi, and mastered and controlled all spirits of the air, on the earth, and under the earth. Now understand this, okay? Remember how they called the devil the prince of the air, but there's also, you have spirits in the sea, and you know, the Leviathan, the demonic spirits, you have righteous spirits, you have, okay? By means of them also wrought all the transitions of works of the Nzoan Zombie, which they call the temple. The word temple is actually affiliated with paganism. We didn't call it temple. It was Nzoan Zombie. Telling also of the authorities they wield against men, Muntu, that by what angels these demons are brought to naught. So here's the whole concept of why you want to not offend Maleki Kong or angels. Because the real angels, they know what they're over, what they command. They each have a job. Even when you're born under them, they control, they're over you. This is why not everybody's born under the same angels, and they're not telling the truth about this. The problem with the fact that all of the descendants, because of the covenant that was made with Abana, all of his offspring would now be under the birth of the Maleki Kongo. Those whose lineages made pacts with the fallen angels, okay, now those angels would maintain their authority over those nations. But they were under the angels who were righteous. So then that way, the Creator still has power over all nations and all power of all authority, because his Malekis are always above them, and then there are the people who are not like them are below them. Okay, that's why not everybody can be treated the same way like they think, unless they come through the people who did not, unless they come through the people who were given covenants, Wiza, from, because you can, there's, the problem is when you hear the word covenant, it comes from the word coven. Coven, this is why you say, you don't understand, it's all sorcery. We didn't say covenant because that's what a coven has to deal with, sorcerers. That's why you have a witch's coven and you have a warlock's coven. They have their groups. Okay. When it comes to being a part of an organization, why do you think you have to be a member? Is because now, according to whatever this organization says, you have to act accordingly to the rules that they have established for that organization. Okay? Tatanzambi, his people had rules and guidelines. And in order to be a part of his group, you had to abide by his guidelines and his organization. And the Mwanda was obedient to what because the Mwanda was always part of the law. You had the righteous scribe who was Hanoka, because of the fact that he was deemed worthy of all the recordings of the scriptures, because of his because of what he did. He brought peace to the earth. So the Most High said, you were found worthy. And that was technically because Kuswa Kongo was with him. Okay. So he was found worthy of this, and he was found worthy of being above the Maleki Congo. So then that made him above the wicked angels. Okay. The whole concept of what the dragon hates is anyone who can control him. That's not a Maleki Congo. That he, the ones born with fire, the Most High made from the beginning. Okay. He wants no flesh above him ever. And this was the whole concept of why, when he was told that Adama would be above him, he was like, say what? I don't think so. I'm a Maleki Congo. I'm a Maleki Congo. He's just a man. But he didn't catch the whole concept of what Tatanzambi was trying to do. Okay? Now, when we talk about membership, there has to be a process with which you become affiliated. This is why the Christians are so deceived, because the Muntu, or the 12 tribes, when you go to learn what it is that you were called to do, there's a process. It's just like going to regular school. Now, of course, you're going to say, well, yeah, churches have Sunday school. I said, yeah, but then you shouldn't have to go to regular school if it's the right way. This is the biggest lie you've ever been taught. It's like your church's Sunday school should be teaching you everything about life, that you don't need to go to public school or private school. That's the whole concept of why, in order to get around this is why you have churches who became Christian schools. Because see, they said, now if my child goes to a Christian school, then that means they are both getting the church teachings, but they are complying with the state mandate. But here's the issue about the separation of church and state, and this is the deception. What was the whole reason behind that? Oh, we were being persecuted by the churches. Okay, so if you're being persecuted by the church, then how are they righteous? Then why do you need to separate that? And then now you go to the state. How is the state going to teach you righteousness when they have no affiliation with the church? How? Okay. This is the issue that people don't understand. If you're getting religiously persecuted, then that means they're not doing it right. Why do you got to separate if they're doing it right? Then how can you still be a part of it if it's still persecution, religious persecution? Oh, because when we protested, we fixed that. No, they did not. You are the Catholic Church, and this is why they covered it up. They were the renaming of the Church of Laodicea. So then when you protested, you broke the Church of Laodicea in half. But then they took the protest, the Protestants, and divided it into different denominations of that protest of the Church of Laodicea. So they had to, when they built these organizations, they turned it into an exclusive club of membership. You're Baptist, the problem is when you say, oh, I'm just non-denominational. No, you're still part of the club, because your church is still set up like an organization that's a business. Why do you think you have to have a nonprofit title? The Most High is like, wait a minute. Why do you have to designate that if I'm supposed to be running you? This is all part of the game that they're playing. Okay. If the creator, if it's his church, he's going to be like, shouldn't I then be the one who decides who pays taxes and who doesn't? Why are they doing that? What's up? How is the IRS doing that? If it's not part of it, if it's a separation between church and state, then why is the IRS controlling who pays taxes and who doesn't when it comes to the church? And on top of that, how are you determining these salaries for pastors when they're not even supposed to be getting paid like this? I am supposed to be giving them what they need myself. Isn't that how this goes? The Holy Spirit's going to tell you how much you're supposed to make or how much what you're supposed to get, not the person who put you in charge of the church. You see, y'all don't get it. It's all part of their lie, okay? Because what it's designed to do is when they set up these organizations, it's controlling what you can preach and what you cannot say. That's the whole concept. So that you don't know and don't ask questions, you just do. That's what it was. And if you want to stay a member, why do you think they can kick you out of a church? Oh, because you're not following the guidelines that we set up for this church. The Methodist Church has a guideline of how you can speak in there. The Baptist, and they all resemble each other because they met back in the 1700s and said, when we organize our churches, this is what's going to be said and not said in there. Yeah, because you don't know that because you weren't there. Even when they set up the churches, when they set up the seminaries that you go to learn from to become a pastor, there's guidelines about what you can teach and what you cannot teach to the people who become a pastor. Did you know that? Okay. And it's set up by the same people who didn't even write the scriptures. They just translated them. Okay. So now, the whole problem with why they don't want people to know who they are is because it's about wealth. It's about keeping, it's the gravy train. Keeping things flowing so that we stay on top and everybody else stays beneath us the way we want it. Okay? It's never been about saving anybody because they're making money off of everything, including death. Okay? And so the concept about the world that we're living in is all about the almighty dollar, which is now changing, but it's all about who has and who doesn't. Okay? Now, many people don't know about the fact that, like I told you, when Bantu people sin, when we do bad things, we're giving our blessings over to the enemy. So it's like the Most High now has to pay him rather than you receiving. So you're getting your gift and your energy taken away from you, and you're now at the mercy of who you gave it to. Okay, so you get locked up. You're in chains in the spiritual world to that entity, and now they're getting your gifts. So when in the Testament of Solomon, it says here, and behold, when the Nzon Zambi of the Benan Congo, Benan Salama, was being built, and the artificers were working. Now, of course, it was being built. Now, understand, when our cities were being built, okay, you don't go to an architect and say, draw me up some plans and show me, I want, and start telling him, this is how I want this built, and I want you to start, I want it like this. You don't tell them how you want it built. The Most High tells you. So what happens is, when we were building our landscape and we were building our cities, it was supposed to be designed to glorify the Creator. So therefore, everything was set up in its proper order, so that the energy was designed so that where the Enzoan zombies sit, you would be energized. It would feed into you. From when the priest would go in and do his prayers and everything, that energy would all go transfer. And now you have power. Ooh, yeah. Okay. So the Most High could come and give you energy, and that was what the priest's job was. The Gungan zombie, his role was to communicate with the Most High, so then the power would come in, and then it would go out to the people. And we would become power. But the only way that worked is if the person who was receiving the power was not dirty. They had to be clean on the inside, including the priests themselves. Okay? Because the Most High cannot occupy anything that's unclean. That's what the one thing the dragon knows 100%. King Congo will not go to dirty places. It has to be clean in the spirit. That's the whole purpose of why he was mad with the garden situation. You've tainted my creation here with this foolishness. Okay? Including, I can't go inside of you, Adama. You messed up. You said, I'm not your God anymore. Now you think this joker is. That's why he go around telling people, I freed them from this tyrant. This is one of the things he tells, that people say he tells them in their meetings. Okay, that people said, wait a minute, I know who I'm talking to. And they got out, but they don't realize they're doing the same thing in their own church. Because see, the altar that you go to in your churches to pray are not set up by the Creator. No. Because they're not even set up right. Bet you didn't know that. There's a specific way that the Creator wants his altars to be created for you. Now, it may replicate it, but he didn't do it in any of these churches. Okay? So if the Most High, you say, oh yeah, this house, this church we built, I said every single church that you see in America and around the world comes from somebody who they came and they gave them the plans. They didn't come from the Creator. Oh yeah, we want this sanctuary to look like this. We want this here. We want that. Oh yeah. Oh, but they say, oh, but pastor is the man of God. He knows what the most. No, he does not. Because if you actually knew the way the Most High showed his people how to build their sanctuary, their realms of worship, and now in the Bible they call it the war room, because you have to have it in your own house too. There's a specific way it needed to be in order for to receive the energy. Every single temple or church that you now are sitting in, synagogue, mosque, whatever, is designed to bring the power to the person standing in front of you, not to the Creator. Because where they sit, okay, as they are above you in many cases, is to show you that we're looking down at you. You're not equal to me. Why do you think that the congregation is lower? Okay. When the Messiah was walking here, and he asked whether there were many Messiahs. When the Messiahs were walking, And Davidi even said the same thing. He said, my people, we should be all on the same level. Yes, I'm the king, but we should all be on the same level of worship and understanding when it comes to involving with our Father. Meaning, you and I'm no better than you. I just happen to be called your king. We are one body. We are all gods. Oh, nobody can be God. No, that's what he said. We are all what? Above the angels. Why do you want to be under Satan? Like the nations are, where he's always, you see, you don't get it. And all the civilizations, and it comes back from the Cain mentality and the Nimrod. Nimrod was always looking down upon his subjects. That's where the word subject really comes from. When you go to learn a subject in school, it's because you're getting looked down upon. You're a subject to the system. Yeah. Okay. When you go to become a master teacher or a master in whatever you do, then they're going to tell you this person must be the expert in every field of what he's doing. Do you understand that that master of knowledge they have is only what they've been taught by those who have before them? But it's not full knowledge. There's things to do other things a different way that's better. There's two forms of alchemy. Tatanzami's alchemy and Shaitani's alchemy. Tatanzami's alchemy is always perfect. It will always do what it's supposed to do to make things the right way. Shaitani's alchemy will look good, but can also then link you to the bad so that the energy flows to him. And then he can make you believe whatever he wants. Okay? So when you have gifts of the Spirit, okay, and this is even for myself, you take these gifts and then you start giving it to the one that you didn't get them from. That's where you have a problem with Tatanzambi. He's like, whoa, wait a minute. I gave you this stuff, not him. I did this, not him. So why are you using it for him and not for me? Return what I gave you to me, according to what I'm asking you to do with it. Okay? So when the temple was being built, okay, and Tina Solomon, this child, okay, it says here a little boy was well off. So he's like, I am Solomon. I have Tatanzam. I have the power to Mwanda. I'm giving you food. But why are you getting weak and not strong? Because there's a spirit attached to him that is that's getting it from them. So they're not powering up, they're getting depleted. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you an understanding of why you're going to see people who's fat, why you're going to see people who's skinny, why you see people who's built a certain way, okay, and all of that. And then why you will see people, man, they look so gorgeous and handsome, but then they what? Same-sex marriage, same-sex whatever. Okay? You're like, wow, that guy's good looking, but oh, he's okay. And it blows you away. Like, how can he be so good looking, but then not like women or not like, okay, when are going to get to that part? Because what it is, and this is why Tatanzambi would tell us never to envy. That's why he said, don't even envy the oppressor. Okay? Why would you envy the people who are trying to keep you down, your subjects? Okay? People understand that's where the word subject really comes from. Because you're subjected to whatever it is that they want you to learn their way. This is why I got out of education in this system. I was like, wait a minute. This is rigged against us, not for us. We are not actually benefiting, they are. We're just getting a portion from the benefit that they're giving us. It's a hand-me-down situation. See, and that's why as Benamuntu, Benanzambi, we're not supposed to be receiving the hand-me-downs. We're the ones supposed to be handing down. Big difference. They flipped it upside down, boy. That's why they don't ever want, because see, even the whole purpose of why when we try to stay separated from the heathens after slavery, okay, and they're gonna say, now I'm gonna tell you real quick. There's a lot of big lies about slavery because not all Black people were slaves. This is the problem. Now, there were people who got enslaved, but not everybody was the same. They knew the difference between those who came from Abana and Sakanyokubi and those who came from Egypt and Canaan and all these other places and Native Americans. That's why when I started hearing about the 12 tribe chart, I was like, what? And that all Africans were Hamites. I said, okay, but Canaan was a Hamite. Isn't that our land? Okay, hello. Wasn't Canaan a Hamite? Wasn't Egypt Hamites? Didn't we go there? Wasn't the Philistines Hamites? And okay, weren't we in their captivity? What about the Babylonians? Didn't they come from Ham too? Okay, boom, hello. That's why you gotta listen. It's like, wait a second. That doesn't make any sense. Okay? Let me tell you the biggest delusion about why they say, oh, we weren't Africans, we were Americans. First of all, the word America is the name that comes originally from a demonic entity. Amerigus. He's a demon. So that's why you're going to get attached to this name like, oh, I'm not going to be affiliated with none of this stuff. First of all, Africa wasn't even called that. But you're going to get people say, oh, no, Tatanzami was. No, he never called it no Africa. And he didn't call it Akabulan either, like the Moors keep telling people. That's the Islamic name, Ishmael, okay? That's why if you don't know what spirit you're talking to, you're always going to resonate the wrong way. Even though you can look like you have power, you're still giving it, you're still in a contract with the demon who gave it to you. You see, that's the whole deception about what they're not telling you about how the people who are spiritual control the world. Because they had to, in order to get the power that they are exhibiting over their subjects, they had to get into a deal with the demon that gave it to them. And then that demon decides, if you want to keep it, this is what I want. Okay? This is the reason why, and then on top of that, there's a problem is, this is where jealousy comes in. The reason why Tatanzami was talking about don't envy your brothers and sisters, just do what I'm telling you for each person, is because when you start to envy, you will now start to want to do like. Okay, I want to do like he does because the Most High didn't give me that ability. Okay, this is where the Kindoki comes in. Okay, I couldn't do like that. I want that gift. How do I get it? The Most High won't give it to me. Okay, because that envy and jealousy now says, I'm not satisfied with the gift that the Creator gave me, so I'm slapping him in the face and saying, why didn't you give me that gift too? I don't like it that this person has that gift and I don't. That's where you run into the issue of jealousy. And now your heart will turn away from the Most High. And where does it go? To Baal, to Lucifer, to Cain, whatever you want to call it. That's why now he can tell you, I don't exist. Ah, everything coming from Yambe to this person. No. I told people, I said, just because people know Nzambi and Pungu, just because they know who the real creator is, that doesn't mean they're cocking to him. Because if you never dump out the wine of the Canaanites, worship, this is what the wine you're supposed to be dumping out. That's why he said, I can't put new wine into old wineskins. What is the old wineskin doing? Baal worship. You got to get rid of the Baal worship before I can put that in, because even though we may have been following the law, statutes, and commandments, when you're in the carnal mentality, you are talking to Baal. That's why you would start doing the sacrifices the wrong way and for the wrong reasons, when you didn't understand the real intent of what they were for. That's why he had to say, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the hypocrisy of the scribes. Why? Because they don't see themselves. They're going to condemn you and don't see themselves. In order to fix something, you must first see you. You may have, that's one of the reasons why when they say, oh, well, Paul, not all of Paul's writings are false, they modified them, okay? When he says, if I can do all of these things of the gifts and the Spirit speaking in tongues or whatever, and I don't have love, then I am nothing. Now, here's where Christianity, oh man, they really put you under a spell. Love of the Creator manifests the Creator's power in you. That is what allowed Kuso Congo and Fuma Yesu Christu to do the things that you will say, wow, is he a sorcerer or what? Is he a demon? Like they thought. He's casting out names in the name of, what? Satan can't cast out Satan. What are you talking about? If you see me, you know who sent me. Those type of things, right? You cannot manifest the power of the Most High the right way and be a, as we call him, Gunza, if you don't know that, Gangan Zombie, Sangoma. You cannot be a priest of the Creator, okay? When your heart is going to Baal in jealousy or in vengeance, or like, hey, that's why he said the circumcision of the heart is more important than when we did the loins for men, okay? And women, I don't know why that was I'm like, wow, people doing that. That was because they don't want the temptation effect, because they know what that does, okay? So that's the whole point of even why you have Sharia law with Muslims, where they want to cover up the woman so much, because it's like, I don't want nobody looking at my lady here. Ah! Okay, if you have to do that, then that woman, you shouldn't have to do that with your woman. If she loves you, she ain't looking at nobody else. Okay? Now, of course, the most I talked about, we covered our heads, we dressed modestly, okay? But always in black? No. That's kindoki on them. That's sorcery. Okay, we were white most of the time. And other, we had other colors, but it was like, no, not always in black. Okay? So now you know you got witches on you. The sorcerers wear a lot of black and red. That's one of the reasons why Tokyo was like, hey, we're not going to wear these colors for now, because there's way too much black and red. I was like, anytime you see, or the black and the white, it's like black and white, black and red, even with the yellow. The yellow coordinating is all stuff that deals with the esoteric of the wicked side. That they have perverted the esoteric, because the Most High has colors, and so do they, but the colors don't mean the same. It has all about what spirit you're talking to tells you when you come and do this ritual, you will wear blue. When you come and do this ritual, you will wear this. When you come and do it, okay, that's what they're doing. And I want your hair this color, and I want your, okay. They're telling the person, in order to receive what I want, this is how I want you to look, this is how I want you to act. Boom, now you have what you asked for. And when I tell you to do something, don't tell me you couldn't do it. Don't give me bad news. Okay? If I want you to go destroy this person, then you better, oh, don't tell me the Most High got you. Ah, they get mad. Okay? So now, as Bana Beto of Isolele, Bakongo, Benazambi, Benakongo, we are supposed to be able to make the other kingdom do what we want, not the other way around. This is how you can tell Christianity does not have the authority they think they have, or their leaders couldn't lie to them, or they can't tell them things that they don't want to do. You would flip it on them. No, we're going to do this, not that. You would tell the pastor, you would tell the president, the vice president. They don't come and tell you, this is what we're going to do for you. No, no. This is what you're going to do for us. This is how it's going to go. Blam, 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 blam. Okay. Okay. That's how it works. That's how it goes. But at the same time, they're going to, I don't want to do that. Well, then you can start doing what? Okay, well, if you don't do it like this is what's going to happen. If you don't do like that, that's what's going to happen. Then we're not going to do these things for you. Oh, okay, okay. It's going to turn into one of those situations where your church doesn't get told what to do. You tell them, hey, this is the way it goes. Bam. Okay? That's why the society around you, let me tell you something. If the people in churches had the Holy Spirit, the devil worshipers would do a beeline around you. Oh, they don't want to be in your presence. Oh, no. There's some light over there. They don't like the lights at all. That's why they're going to come after you, to run after you. Put it out, put it out, put it out, put it out, put it out. No. That's an exposer there. They cannot have exposers in their midst. They must find a way to stop the exposer, because that's what the Holy Spirit is. It exposes all things to see who has what over them, who the Most High stuff in the spiritual world. I have seen many things, and it was like, who's trying to take my heads down? The Most High will show you that. Oh, let me show you. The Manda said, yeah, let me show you who's trying to take your heads down. And see, that was the issue with the way the Most High was angry with Banabetu, because he was like, look, this is my place, and this is my property, and the world, basically, you run it, but I have a special place for you. Stop bringing in these wicked things, or else I have to start over, and you have to be punished for that. Because I cannot be around dirty things, and I give you warnings. Okay, I'm warning you, get it out of here or else. Get it out of here or else. Okay? This is the reason why we had to run from Solomon and say, no, we're not going to be, no, we out, because he defiled the temple that he made the demons build. And we're like, we can't be here, bro. We got to go. Peace out. For those who knew. Then the other ones who were with them, they were like, okay, well, and that's why it makes a big problem. This is how you know Christianity don't have a clue about this. Oh, just come as you are, do whatever. Congo, the Messiah was like, you cannot bring filth into a place that's clean. You have to clean it up first and then bring it in. That was the whole purpose of why they would go out first. And when the person would receive it, they would clean them up right there. Okay, now you can come join us. Okay. Oh, these are all clean people here. Now the water can flow. See, an invitation, this is why we know it's really a club and not a church, is to determine to see if you are a right fit for how we are. That's why you're going to find people to say, I don't know if we should welcome these people or not. I'm not so sure about that. Oh, but Jesus said we should love everybody. And that. But see, those are the people that don't get it. It's like, no, we want to make sure that who we bring in here won't expose us. That's what they're really talking about. Because there's some people out here that they could come in here and like, hey, we know that you guys are not telling the truth. That's the whole reason why when you become a person that has real sight, you cannot go into a Baal church because the pastor will be like, no, this member, we're going to have a problem with this person. Wait, pastor, no. And then the excuse they have to give you is this person is worshiping the devil. When in reality, no, you're going to come in there and expose the devil. Because they know that every church is set up with a president who's the pastor. You have a board Everything is a business. They need you to sin to make money. If you ain't sinning, they ain't making no money? Hello? But the reality is, everybody's always sinning. So you're still just it's like throwing money into a slot machine and looking. You want to know how really it works? You want to know how it's like when this is technically the concept of the prosperity gospel. You have to keep putting in and put it in whatever that you have. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Oh, I hit the jackpot. There's several ways you do that. Do you know that athletics are connected to the church? I'm going to tell you how that works. They have people there that are sizing you up to see, oh man, he looked like he could be this way. Oh, he looks like he could do that. Look at the genes. They're looking at you just like when they did in slavery. Same concept with our own people. You're being eyeballed up and down. Oh, man, that lady right there, she could look like she could run track. Oh, and then, of course, they got people doing the other stuff too, getting you, oh, man, we could use her for this. Oh, yeah. They don't think they don't, but they do. Okay, but those people will have to meet you somewhere else. And that's where you get the people that get brought into the various different other bad things. Because they said, oh, we could use her for that. Because they run in both sides. Okay? But they have to look good, but they also bad. Don't think it's just random that when your daughter turns out to be turning tricks on the corner, okay, that something didn't happen to where that they just got picked out of random. No. And see, even though they come and say, oh no, my daughter's going to go to church and all of that, you don't understand. That's the masquerading side. You're still giving it to the wrong God. Because you cannot buy the Holy Spirit. So now you're turning tricks in the church. What do you mean by do that? Oh, I can be this, I can be the pastor, I can entertain, I can do whatever, I can sing. Okay. Oh, we can do, I can be on this board and this board. The board what you build with, okay? Yeah, this is gonna hit hard on a lot of people who even choose to believe me, because that's how bad the people who run this world really are when they created these things on purpose to trick you into thinking you were doing it right. They don't care that they messed up your life if you find out that you were being sent to the pit of Apollyon. They don't care. That's why people like me, I'm a threat. Okay? I am a threat because it's like, whoa, there's a bit, I'm trying to tell y'all, everybody who cannot manifest the power of the Creator in the proper fashion is in some kind of connection to the enemy, specifically Banabetu Negroes. Okay? When you call yourself a title that does not coincide with what the Creator set up, you will now go with whatever spirit that is. The Creator never told his 12 tribes to call themselves Muslims or Islam. No. He had nothing to do with those Arabs like that, because they were Ishmaelites. It's like, hey, they're cut off. Unless they came to the Banabetu Bisolele where they taught us our way and they learned these things, that's how they got it, okay? Because we did teach the world how to act, but then they killed us for it. But at the same time, whose fault was that? Because we turned on ourselves. You have to understand, just because you cast out demons don't mean that they don't get ticked off and want revenge. They don't like that. Because then if they don't have a body to occupy, they die. That's the whole purpose of needing you to keep believing in their power and what they do and their gift and what they can give you. They don't have the same influence if they can't control you. That's the whole purpose of why they don't want you to see them. When you can see them, then it's like, oh, I'm in trouble. This is why they will try to then use you for their purposes. And when they do that, you're no longer with the Creator. That's why I've been going through, I did the atonement, been doing the cleansing. I'm like, and every day it's all about confessing myself to be restored, because we walking out here, we getting ready to do the Ipasika. Okay, y'all want to believe the Passover was in Northern Hemisphere? Be my guest. Once again, everything is upside down for a reason. The New Year and all that. Okay, we're getting ready to do this, and it's like you don't understand that the whole purpose of the remembrance of these things is because we are to honor and give glory to our Father for always protecting and watching over those who are his chosen. But once again, and this is what they're lying about to the world, we messed up. We said kick rocks to him because we want to be the physical temple and not the spiritual temple that most of us already were. And so when we saw once again, that there were people who could do what we couldn't do, well, I want to do that too. Then you need to go in the right place. No, we want the physical temple, not. So then you once again, you are in pacts with the wrong spirits and you become a sorcerer. But then it's going to be just like, so you're going to do just like the sorcerer. he was about to, he said, I don't want to wait and learn how to do these things. I want it now. I don't want to take the time to be, and that's why I said, even with me, it's a process of learning, just like when you go into school. That's why do you think the Messiah was walking with his people for so many years before he finally said, now I'm giving you the keys. You take over. I'm going to go finish getting things ready for the future and the rest of us. That's what he was really telling people. Okay. The kingdom is everywhere. So he was getting everything ready, and the devil wanted to interfere with that because he still thinks this is his kingdom. Wait, man, you don't interfere with my plans. I'm going to interfere with yours. Okay. And that's the whole concept of why you question every spirit. This is how you determine who's working. It says, because if there's no unity, that means somebody's working the other side. I am all for the unity of the Banabeta Ibisolele, but they don't want me to do that. They don't want Kintwadi. It's like, no, but you're going to get those people, yeah, we working for the Kintwadi. No, we're working for Baal. Okay? They have these pacts because if they don't work for their God, then they will lose their power that they have been given, or they themselves will be eliminated because they have not fulfilled their part of the bargain. See, that's what happened with us. The Most High said, I have a bargain that I'm doing with my children. You didn't fulfill your part of the bargain. Bye. You have to go. You got to go to his side because you can't be on mine. I can't be divided. And neither can he. So you either got to be on one side or the other. And see, my kingdom is never going to be divided. So you can't be with me if you want to be with him. Okay? But now, because he told us now you are going to go be with him and not with me, he has cursed us. The only way to restore that is to do what? Unlearn what we think we know and go back to what we should know. But at the same time, don't allow yourself, myself included, I'm not just talking about anybody, don't allow yourself to be used to bring people back to where we're trying to get from. Because then, like I said, you are become a Kindoki. You become a warlock. You do sorcery now instead of the Most High's way. And see, as Banabetu, then we'll sit there and we'll try to find ways to get back at the people that got to be there and I didn't. That's the whole concept of the wheat and the tares. Those who are saying now, and I want to make it very clear, not everybody was planted by the Creator. It's a lie. Not every soul comes from him. It's a lie. Because the problem is, if you did come from him, then you will see that something is wrong. Okay? It doesn't matter what complexion you may look like, because like I said, we've been lied to. How you look like on the inside and on the outside is two different things according to what we're dealing with. Okay? However, the Most High can pour out his spirit, and those who are questioning will then start to be like, hey, yeah, something is, but from what I remember in the basics of what I know, this isn't how it should be. Something is off. Okay. And see, that's why I tell people, I'm like, we now live in a system that's on autopilot, where you have now been conditioned that this is the way life is, and this is how it goes, based upon what I've been taught. What have you been taught? That's why when I was listening to the whole concept, there was a guy I was listening on Facebook. He was talking about the stuff that was here, that was built here. That the whole Old West scenario is a fabrication, and this is true. It is. The Native Americans had way more building ability, and the indigenous people knew things better than that. But that's because they were working with spiritual beings that they don't want you to tell you, they don't want to know, that were wanting things built the way and how they want it built. Now, of course, they didn't want the people who they were sending over to know that their spiritual beings had now turned on them because they were doing something similar in Europe. So they're like, oh, we're going to erase this. Now you're going to be in your own ingenuity and everything is built, whatever. And we're going to start knocking down what was built before and start again. But see, a lot of people don't understand that's when the Most High said, I knock down and you build back up. That's all part of it too. Because see, the reality is like everything on this earth is supposed to be built according to the specifications of the original power. Nothing is supposed to be according to the opposite kingdom. However, okay, when we run this stuff and when we're on top of the world, we are the people who were always the overseer of this process. That's why when we went back on top 800 years ago, Rome could tell. The devil was like, hey, Tatanzambi brought the 12 tribes, he's bringing the 12 tribes back together. Oh no, we can't let this happen because now it challenges our position. Because there was no protest going on with the Europeans then. There was a black and white pope. There was a lot of turmoil and conflict going on about who's who and what. Even then, the so-called people were kicked out of places many times when they kept finding out that they were not being honest at that time. And so what happened was when we started to bring power back to the earth, because that's what happened, we started to restore the earth with our connection that was starting to be reconnected the right way in the places that we were starting to be brought together. And the earth has energy, and they could tell the good energy is starting to overpower the bad energy. Something has changed. This is their so-called all this pole shift stuff. And the reason why it shifts is because this is how it goes. Every time, they're not going to tell you this, that's why they cover it up. Every time we go back on top, the other civilizations suffer cataclysms. They have to be torn down. That's what they remember when they said, oh, our city started getting, because the Most High always tears down Nimrod when we go back on top. Every time. It's like when Bantu people go on top, the sun god goes down. That's why Egypt got jacked up, Babylon, even the places in America, they didn't know. They said the gods must be upset with us. Oh my God, there's these big. No, the Most High was giving, he's like, I am bringing my people back on top. And now that would make the earth would attack them. They would be destroyed. Because it was a transitional phase of energy. We're going from the negative back to the positive now. It's not going to be Satan on top right now. It's going to be my people. Now we're back in our kingdom each time. There was 6 different occasions. That's why they said when this time comes, when Bantu people go back on top, the whole world is going to be under demolition. Why? because he said it's never going back down after this. It's going to be a complete overhaul for good. And it's going to stay that way. That's their whole apocalypse that they're not telling people. It's like, no, when they said if once the one that was ascribed all sin, okay, I'm gonna go back to the wisdom. I've been talking a lot. This is what he was talking about, okay? Now I deliver you to do his opulence, because he is the transcendent and limitless. Thus, he is eternal and unborn, okay? He is unaccountable. His form is not mortal, because the mortal form is the creation of another. That's why you don't worship what is created. You worship what is not created. The fallen angels were created. Yes. They had a creator, so they cannot be him, and nor can they defeat him, okay? So he has an exclusive appearance. Nothing like you have seen and conceived. Why? Because he is all light, no dark. His exclusive appearance will be illumination beyond you can imagine, even though he's still a melanated God in complexion. I heard this person say angels don't have an image. Again, Adama was created in the likeness and the image of the creators, because the angels helped make him. That's why he said, let us, and they keep saying, these stupid Anunnakis, they ticking me off. It's like, no, they were created. They weren't creators. They lie, okay? But they started creating from there, just like the devil did things. They making this stuff up. The Tatan Zombie was never created by anybody. Congo, he did not create. He himself was all eternal. Okay? Now, the clay cannot tell the potter what to do. I don't want to be. That's why you get what? When it don't come out right, don't they start over? Okay, this didn't come out right. Oh, this keeps coming out. Okay, you got to start over, right? But the problem is, in our world, if we choose to make ourselves ugly and defiled, that's when he got to go. I'm throwing you away because you're not reflecting me. You're now reflecting the things that are unclean and ugly, that I had nothing to do with as far as my intentions. Okay? That's why you're having people and human beings, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about them, but it's like, the problem is, that's what happens when you keep making things the wrong way by your own thoughts. A lot of people are suffering the way they are and who they are because of where they come from. And it has nothing to do with why he did it. It's because you believing that he is everyone's God, when he is only the God of Abana and Saka and Yakubi. And in order to come to him, you have to come through them. That's how it works. He is the God of Abana and Saka and Yakubi. He's not the God of the Chinese. He's not the God of the Egyptians. He's not the God of the Islamic people. He's not the God of the Christians like they think. He's not the God of the Jewish people. He's the God of Abana and Saka Yakubi Abantwe. He said everything else belongs to the imposter. I turned it over to him, and he's lying to you. That's why he says, my people can bring you salvation, not his. But he has lied to the world about who he is. He says, oh, I'm Yahweh. No, he's not. Okay? And no, he did not turn it over to Ham. Ham stole it from Nsemu. Hashem, okay, I was going to talk about the origins of Hashem. I wanted to say that. I'm sorry I'm going too long. I'm almost done. That's what Esau calls the mockery of Nsemu. Hashem is the Hebrew term for God literally. No. That's for El. We never called the Most High Hashem. But they want to call Yahweh. Okay? We never, the name, it says literally the name. That's why it's like, okay, the name. What really is it? My people are called by my name. It says it's the God, a term for God. We're not called Hashemites. No, we are not the Hashemites. They are. All the other nations, all the other non-Abana and Saka and Yakubi, their God is Hashem, not ours. So Nini Nanini is not Hashem. No. Okay? So then it goes to El and Elohim. No, that's Beth El, not Betu. Beth El this is the Canaanite God. Hashem is their God. He was not us. That's Baal. And they know that. And see, the Christian fabricated system is built off of the same concepts of Canaan. You think that you have inherited the God against the Canaanites when you have inherited the God of the Canaanites. That's the deception. No. So when you go to the altar and get the altar call to become a Christian or become part of the church, the membership, the club, you're getting knocked over the head, and you're going to now be under the spell of Hashem, who really is who? The imposter. Like I'm telling people, man, we, Bakongo, Benanzambi, we made the same mistake like Yaledi in his time when he thought that he was tricked, some of his offspring were tricked to go mix with Cain. This is what like the days of Noah really means. Once again, the people who should have known better did it again. Oh, what the heck? Like I told people, you want to know why you see all of the problems going on with Black folks today? It only takes the mistake of one king or one person, and it becomes catastrophic for an entire nation. But he didn't do it alone. It's because the other people were being disobedient too. They were starting the trouble. No, we want the physical temple. We want the physical temple. Why do they keep saying that? Because they're under the snake eyes of Hashem, like the other people are in this world. And they think that Christianity is the white man's belief, right? No. Because many of the Romans, They lied again. The Etruscans were not white all the time. They were mixed people. They were dark too. They have hidden this history. Many of the Italian families were also dark-skinned people. You know, it's funny because I saw the Italian, and it was funny because when she walked, she looked like she was marching. I said, you know, her face even said, why did she look like Hitler? In the face. I just, I don't know. It was weird. I was like, if you go to YouTube and you see her speech, and she was all somber and she was speaking in Italian and she was condemning. I said, Italy, you are the biggest hypocrite because Rome. He even just went there a few months ago. The Pope is exploiting. Are you kidding me? The Pope is exploiting Africa worse than the French. But, oh, we need to leave Africa alone. Then go tell the Pope to stop messing with us too. Then, hello, you gonna go tell the Pope leave Africa alone? He gonna look at you like, I gave you your job. What are you talking about? Yeah, right. Okay. How do you think Italy is sitting on all that money up there in the Vaticano with all of the gold plated and stuff? Where do you think they got that? How many gold mines do you see in Italy? Do you see hardly any? Hello? How many precious stones and stuff really do you find that's been collected in Italy? Are you serious? They robbed us too. They took from Salem, man, they got all the stuff from Salama in the Vaticano and everything that they were running. They even did the picture where they running with the stuff. Woo, the booking, okay? When they were the when they were the Roman Legion. You think they didn't steal from Tatanzambi? You kidding me? They're running like this. We kill the Bantu, and then they go erase the name. Hey, they stole from Banabetu too when the Portuguese came into the kingdom of Congo de Intotila 500 years ago. The Vaticano was stealing all the wealth of the richest black man. Oh, they say, oh, that was what you name Mansa Musa. I don't think so. Do you know why they don't want to tell you how rich the Moni Congo was in the Kingdom of Congo? How much money he, that guy was sitting on the entire wealth of the entire world, was his wealth. Because when he was sitting there in that chair, the Ntoto was his and the Bantu people. They covered that up. He wasn't just in charge of the Kingdom of Congo de Ntotila. He was in charge of the gold in America. He was in charge of the gold in Europe. He was in charge of the gold in Asia. That was his gold and silver because he was now the inheritance of Abana. Technically, you want to call wealthy, that man was the richest man more than the Pope at that time. He had way more money than the Pope. Oh, you don't even know. Huh? Mansa Musa was considered a pauper compared to a money coin. Because now his kingdom was Tatanzambi and Pungu and King Congo and all of his wealth. Yeah. He was like Solomon. Hey, I got big money here. That's why when people come looking for the money, there's plenty to go around. What you're stealing it for? I don't understand this. But they forgot what Esau is, a thief. Okay, his curse was like, I gotta go find it. That's why he's always on the treasure hunt. Okay? All right. We must understand that it's not only you who brings the devil into your house, but it's also those who try to break down your hedges, because that's why I'm going to tell you about the fake bounty people. Those who are engineered, they're not real. That's why I said I don't know if we're going to get this taken down. They have bantus that they don't have, the Most High didn't make them. They're grown. And they can look like anything. Okay? And if you're not careful, you teach them how to do things, they will now really steal your power. Because they put people, they have taken children and they have initiated them into things to where they will now take in some of these bad spirits that can now come. And I'm talking about, and these are some of these things that they can do some like, whoa, you would be sitting there on your hut like, wow, how did they do that? Okay? Because they're using real sorcery. And they're going to make you go, wow, how did you do that? How did, okay? That's why you have to really know. When the Bible says, every plant that I did not put here, I will uproot. You better believe it. And they're quoting this now. There's a lot of fake people out here. You're going to see this. Okay? And the problem is, many of the people who are real, the Most High's true chosen, many of us have been tricked into giving them what didn't belong to them. Because they were sent there purposefully to destroy your intent to bring the sheep together. If you're distracted, this is what will happen. They can catch you like that. You see? That's the whole reason why the house of Solomon fell. He got distracted by, oh, wow, look at this beautiful woman here. Ooh, Solomon. Oh, yeah. Okay. Excuse me. There's going to come a time, and I'm looking forward to this. You're going to start to see shepherds, and I mean some shepherds, that they're untouchable. They cannot be turned. And they will wield power like you can't believe. They will have nothing to do with any secret society. They will have nothing to do with any temptation. No. They're going to do these type of people. It's going to happen when the Most High makes the transition of the wheat and the tares. These people will be untouchable. You're going to be like, wow, I see the big difference now between real and fake. Untouchables, to the point where it's like there's nothing you can do to them that they won't see coming, and they're going to be like, ha, you thought you got me. Watch this. Because the wheat, when they're separated, they will not sin no more. And when that happens, it's going to be like, oh, and you're going to get people. They're going to really try to tempt them. And they're just going to look at you like, what do you think this is? You think I don't see you coming? You think I can't control this? Watch. You won't be able to do nothing to these people. It's going to be crazy. when that transition happens. And some of us will transform into this when it says we shall be changed. Because once the separation hits, where it's like you are eternally bad and you are eternally good, the people who are eternally bad are going to be begging. We didn't, no, this isn't right. We need to be with you. No, you chose your fate. You see? All right. Zola Quingi, Sambololo, Wizi Congo Kutwala. And understand that like it says, by the divine appearance, he sees everywhere and is reflected by only itself, for he is eternal. He is always unknowable. What does he mean by that? There's nothing that is like, you can't know the Most High. He has to know you. That's how it works. So when people say, I know God, no, he has to know you. That's how you become connected. He don't know you. You're not connected. You don't have the truth. So your knowledge is limited, not limitless. You follow? This is why he said no one is good but the Most High. He is imperishable and cannot be compared to anyone. He is enduring goodness. He is flawless. He is everlasting. He is exalted. Do you notice that he's not talking about himself? This is where Christianity is talking about, oh, you gotta know Jesus. Ha! No, you better know the Most High. Because he comes from there. He wasn't good, but he's worthy of it. That's why the shepherd will come find you. Oh, I'm searching for Jesus. No. He said, if I lost somebody, I'm coming to find you. If you're one of mine, I'm looking for you. And the way I find you is you have to what? Listen. Wikichila. You don't listen, for me calling you, you're not going to hear me. How does that happen? You're in the folly of the world. See, when you see people talk, oh, we found Jesus, we found God. No. A shepherd doesn't come looking for a sheep that's not his. He only comes looking for the sheep that are his. If you're not his sheep, you stay over there. You're not mine. Peace out. I don't know you. That's why only those that the Most High knows are going to be his chosen. That's written on his hands. That will never become a worker of iniquity. That's why I said this. If you start working iniquity in order to trick people into believing something that isn't true, no matter what, even if you use the name, it's like, I don't know who you are. There's no trick or treat with me. I'm not doing this for me. I'm not the shepherd. He is. But my job as Umbasi, okay, is to bring you to the source. That's it. And how do I do that? I'm exposing who isn't. It's not about the flesh. It's about the spirit. Okay? You better be able to see through. Hey, What? Now, all of us aren't always going to be staying clean ourselves. It's a fact. We're working to scrub ourselves on the inside. But you're surrounded by the tares. So there has to be a separation process to get off of minds. He is perfect, without flaw. He is inexhaustibly divine. He is called the creator of the universe. That's why I told people, do not accept the fact that the real Jesus, the real Messiah, didn't exist. The fake one is the one telling you that. And then the fake one is the one telling you, oh, there was no, that Jesus Christ, they made it up. No, he was there. They used him as the example to deceive us. They took two different stories and they blended them together to make the one that they use. That's why you cannot have half. You have to have the whole. You cannot have, or you have none. You either have the whole or you have none. You cannot have half. And this is how they have treated this deception to the world. They sold you a lemon and you bought it. That's how it works. And now the lemonade stand, why you think now the lemonade stand has turned into a what? A fountain of everlasting lemonade. That you're drinking the Kool-Aid now you're drinking the Kool-Aid that you need to spit it out. It's nasty, sour. That lemon is sour. Bitter. You're drinking the bitter Kool-Aid instead of the sweet wine. That's the difference that he made. You know how they have the sour grapes? You're drinking the sour grapes, not the good ones. You see? Zola Quingi and Sambololo, inawezi yabe Congo kutwala. Hey, I don't think y'all paying attention. It's already kicked off. I've seen some things going on. I'm like, hey, they're not going to announce it. It's going to hit you like I told you. It's going to be that freight train you don't see coming that all of a sudden at the last second, boom, you got ran over. I played the sport, okay? I know what it's like to catch it and then get hit, boom, and get knocked backwards like that. Oh, man, I didn't see that guy coming. He came out of nowhere. You see it on TV every day. The way a 300-pound defensive lineman crushes a 195-pound running back or a quarterback is what's going to happen when this hits. Blindsided. Like the blind side. Like the quarterback standing there, boom, you didn't see it coming. I'm down. And then you're going to fumble what you had in your hand and you're going to and it's going to be gone. You can't get it back. Everything you had it's going to hit you. Oh, I lost, where all my stuff go? It's gone. Yeah, like that. It's going to be like a blindside hit on a quarterback. Everything you had is going to be gone. And I'm not just talking, I'm talking about people in the billionaires everywhere, the NFL. They're going to look up, where did my money go? Where did my money go? Gone. Blindsided. Bam, the most I came through. My bank account says zero. What? I can't, what? Calling people, hey, where'd my money go? What happened? We don't know. We lost it too. Oh my gosh. Just like that. Blindsided. Oh man, my baby mama just called me. Where her money at? She called me. My credit card's not working. King Congo has the ability to do just that. Damn, it's gone. Somebody get a hold of Satan. What happened? I can't help it, bro. I'm locked up. He starts singing the locked up song. Oh, I'm going to prison. I'm locked up. Just like he had people singing in prison. Remember he was singing, oh, I'm locked up. I'm gone. I can't help you. Then you're going to see, oh, man, I'm locked up. Oh, I'm locked up. Can't do it no more. All right. Ingita, hallelujah. Vayete en cruce.